Title: The Clockmaker of Ravensburg. The night the cathedral clock stopped, the city of Ravensburg held its breath. It was the 14th of March, 1512, the last night before spring fairs brought merchants from Venice, Florence, and Bruges. No one knew yet that this silence, the absence of chimes, would echo across half a century of Europe's changing fate. In the narrow street by the river Schussen, an old clockmaker named Elias Werner wiped soot from his hands and stared at the motionless tower. His apprentice, young Greta Hohenberg, clutched her shawl and whispered, "Master, the heart of time has stopped." Elias said nothing. He only nodded toward the great tower where his life's work had lived for 40 years. Gears of bronze, pulleys of oak, each tooth forged by his trembling fingers. The clock was no ordinary mechanism. It was, as some whispered, a map of the stars and the human soul, a thing the Italian scholars called machina mundi, the machine of the world. Greta saw the fear in his eyes. "It's not the gears, is it?" "No," Elias murmured. "It's the balance." That night, while the bells slept and the city forgot to count its hours, a messenger from Vienna arrived at Elias's door, cloaked in crimson, bearing the seal of Emperor Maximilian. The letter said only this: "To Master Elias Werner, artificer of Ravensburg, you are summoned to Vienna within 7 days. Bring the design of the celestial clock. The empire has need of your craft." Elias's hands shook. He had hidden those blueprints 15 years ago, buried beneath his workshop floor after the church condemned his invention as heresy, for to measure heaven is to defy God. He looked at Greta. "Pack the tools. We ride east at dawn." By the time they crossed the Danube, the snows had melted into rivers of glass. Inns were crowded with soldiers and scholars, men chasing gold, knowledge, or war. In every tavern, talk circled around strange new discoveries: the new world across the sea, the printing presses in mines, and a new star seen above Prague, a light that burned where no light had been before. Greta listened to it all, wide-eyed. "The world is changing, Master." "It always is," said Elias, "but never without cost." At night, he dreamed of gears turning backward, of time itself unraveling. Once, he woke with a whisper on his lips. "The balance is broken. Turn." Vienna, 1512, a city of marble towers and muddy streets. Scholars from every land walked its squares, debating Aristotle and the angels. The emperor's court gleamed like a furnace of ambition. When Elias and Greta arrived, they were ushered into the Hall of Mechanica, a vault of wonders where inventors displayed models of wings, water wheels, and endless chains. Among them stood a man with eyes sharp as a falcon, Dr. Paracelso, the alchemist. "So this is the clockmaker," Paracelso said, circling Elias like a curious spirit. "I have heard you built a heart that beats with the stars." Elias bowed. "I built only what I understood. Then you are wiser than most." The emperor entered, tall, austere, draped in ermine. "Master Werner," he said, "Europe stands at a turning point. The Turks press from the east. Rome fractures with corruption. I would build a machine to unite men, to show them that all time is one. Can your design do that?" Elias hesitated. "It can show them the pattern, Majesty, but it cannot give them harmony." Maximilian smiled thinly. Then perhaps it needs improvement. In the months that followed, Elias and Greta rebuilt their celestial clock inside the Imperial Observatory. Greta copied diagrams, melted brass, filed cogs. But something haunted the air. Whispers among the scholars, murmurs that the clock's rotations mirrored not the heavens, but the human heart. One evening, Paracelso brought Elias a manuscript bound in leather. "This," he said, "is from Alexandria. It speaks of a wheel that turns the fate of men, a wheel so vast it touches both stars and souls. Tell me, old man, did you build such a thing?" Elias's voice was barely a breath. "Perhaps." And then for the first time, Greta saw the clock completed. It stood 3 stories tall, its face of crystal showing orbits and tides, the rise and fall of kings, the pulse of unseen forces. When it ticked, the air seemed to shimmer. But on the 7th night, the stars above Vienna began to move, slowly, impossibly, as if the sky itself obeyed the clock. Panic spread. Astronomers claimed the constellations had shifted. Priests called it blasphemy. The emperor, entranced, ordered the clock sealed within the cathedral vault. He said, "The world must not yet know." Elias begged him to destroy it. "Majesty, the balance is wrong. It feeds on itself. It seeks its own rhythm, not heaven's." But Maximilian refused. Days later,